Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're decoding how digital creators merge cognitive psychology, cinematic visual effects, and intricate audio to quietly manipulate our attention. Let's get right into it.
Ever wonder why some digital experiences just flow effortlessly? Like they're literally reading your mind, while others leave you wanting to throw your phone across the room? It's all about the invisible mechanics working behind every screen we touch. It isn't magic, you guys. It's highly calculated design.
So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to break things down into the anatomy of digital experiences, the psychology of the interface, sculpting with digital light, dynamic motion and visuals, and finally, the massive impact of sound.
Section 1. The anatomy of digital experiences.
Okay, so the absolutely crucial point here is that a poorly designed smartphone app and a totally fake-looking Hollywood movie effect actually fail for the exact same underlying reason. They break human immersion. You see, UI design, VFX, and audio syncing aren't just technical skills, they are deeply psychological tools. When they're perfectly dialed in, we literally don't even notice them, but the second one element is off, the whole illusion totally shatters.
Moving right along to Section 2, the psychology of the interface. Let's see how creators design for the human mind.
Now, what's really fascinating about this process is how it maps our cognitive journey. Information hits us as sensory input, then it moves to short-term memory, long-term memory, and finally triggers a behavioral response. We aren't just passively staring at our screens, we're actively processing them based on attention, perception, and memory. And if an interface dumps way too much into our sensory memory at once, our short-term memory totally overloads, and our response is usually just rage-quitting the app in frustration.
Check out this real-world example comparing the layouts of two Chinese airline apps, Yuma Trip and VeryFlight. It brilliantly illustrates the massive contrast between a totally chaotic, crowded digital environment and a clean, streamlined grid. Our brains naturally crave what psychologists call the Gestalt principle of continuity. Basically, we want elements aligned in a smooth, uninterrupted flow. It severely reduces cognitive fatigue and saves us from getting a massive headache just trying to process the screen.
To combat all that interface chaos, designers actually lean on something called Hicks Law. It simply states that the time it takes for a user to make a decision increases with the number of choices available. Think about it. An airline app that forces you through 14 different steps, constantly bombarding you with ads and seat upgrades just to buy a ticket, it's absolutely exhausting. By stripping away all those unnecessary choices and presenting a simple process, designers relieve immense psychological pressure. Less is literally more.
All right, let's talk about our own biases. This brings us to the aesthetic usability effect. We are naturally, inherently biased to assume that visually appealing designs are just fundamentally easier to use. By simply unifying button colors, keeping the visuals consistent, and making a clean layout, designers are literally tricking our brains into thinking an app is highly functional, even if the back-end code is exactly the same. It's wild how pretty things just naturally feel better to use, right?
And when they absolutely need us to click a specific thing, they use the von Restorff effect, also known as the isolation effect. Elements that differ in color or shape from their surroundings are instantly easier to remember and recognize. This is exactly why throwing a simple drop shadow or a super bright, contrasting yellow outline onto a Pay Now button grabs your attention so fast. It isolates that specific button from the rest of the boring gray or blue UI, making your next action blindingly obvious.
Up next, Section 3, sculpting with digital light.
You see, lighting isn't just about making things visible. It's a digital cinematographer's ultimate tool to dictate the exact emotion you're supposed to feel. Take low-key lighting. Think of the incredibly dark, moody look of the movie Sin City. It uses deep shadows and super high contrast to create this mysterious, tense vibe. On the flip side, high-key lighting floods a scene with bright, even light for a really cheerful, optimistic atmosphere. For VFX artists, it's all about looking at real-world footage and digitally replicating those exact setups so completely fake elements feel emotionally grounded. And the stakes here are incredibly high. Just listen to Guy Williams, the VFX supervisor for Gemini Man. Their ultimate goal was to finally cross the uncanny valley and bring to screen a totally emotive digital human. Making Will Smith's younger digital twin a reality required insane, obsessive attention to light. They actually had to use spectral renderers to perfectly match real-world light physics. We're talking measuring the exact wavelengths of light on set rather than just throwing some basic RGB colors around. It completely proves that getting the light right is the absolute key to photorealism.
All right, Section 4, dynamic motion and visuals. Let's talk about blowing stuff up.
When you destroy a digital object in a program like After Effects, it isn't just random. It is a highly controlled 4-step workflow. First, you isolate the graphics using masks. Then you drop on the shatter effect. To make it look totally unique, you map out custom shatter lines, maybe some really cool geometric plexus grids. And finally, you dial in the physics. You're carefully adjusting the depth, radius, and viscosity to control exactly how that debris behaves. It looks like chaos, but it's totally organized.
But how do you make things feel genuinely alive and digital without animating for 100 hours? Math. By injecting a tiny snippet of code, an expression, into an opacity keyframe, like literally just typing time*5 into a random seed, editors can generate a completely automated, unpredictable neon flicker effect instantly. You don't manually animate every single frame of a flickering light anymore, you let the math do all the heavy lifting to create that perfectly imperfect digital hum.
And finally, Section 5, the sheer impact of sound, the element that ties the entire digital experience together. Linking sound to visuals is actually this fascinating data translation process. Say you want a digital boombox to pulse perfectly to a beat. First, you convert the audio waveform straight into data keyframes, then you write a simple code loop to find the maximum volume spikes, use a linear expression to map that data directly to the visual scale of the animation, and finally smooth it out so it doesn't look completely jittery. It is quite literally pure math becoming a visual rhythm.
But what about when sound needs to be aggressive, chaotic, and totally break the rules? Sound designers jump into a rapid-fire toolkit of multi-effects plugins. I'm talking tools with amazing features like the Chernobyl button. They take a perfectly clean sound wave and just completely mangle it. They're adding extreme delays, pitch modulation, and granular stuttering to pump out those terrifying futuristic cyber sounds we all know and love. It gets even more microscopic by separating tiny little audio glitches by a mere 0.2 seconds and randomly resampling them together. Sound designers can build entirely new, terrifying digital textures. Layering these slightly offset, completely destroyed snippets creates an aggressive audio collage that literally makes our brains tingle. It's the exact sound of the machine breaking, all meticulously crafted by hand.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought. You're now completely equipped to see the hidden psychological and technical layers manipulating your every single click, view, and listen. So next time you tap an app, marvel at a crazy VFX shot, or hear a stuttering digital glitch, will you see the invisible design? Hopefully, we've opened your eyes to the fascinating world happening right beneath the glass. Thanks for hanging out with me, and keep exploring.